Chelsea fans, welcome back to Talking Chelsea. Welcome back to your Chelsea news. Enzo Maresca gives an update regarding Cole Palmer's injury and other squad players ahead of the Lincoln game tomorrow. Nicholas Jackson and Emega's Chelsea futures have been decided, and we're going to be predicting Chelsea's starting 11 to face Lincoln tomorrow night. Now, of course, I'll be giving my own thoughts and opinions on everything that's been reported, but more importantly, I want to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Before we get into the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2025. You can also use the hype button, which is a new YouTube feature which helps push these videos out to a bigger audience. Kicking things off, Enzo Maresca speaks on Cole Palmer and he says Cole is probably the only one that we need to assess a little bit. The rest are okay, just to recover from last week. And Fabrizio Romano has reported the full quote of what Enzo Maresca says, where he says we have to assess Cole Palmer. He did already have a huge effort to play in the last game. He wants to be there to help his teammates in that kind of game. It's more day by day, week by week, game by game to see how he is. He then gives an injury update regarding Benoit Badiashile and Romeo Lavia. He says they are not back for this game, unfortunately. They both took part in the session yesterday, and hopefully they can be available soon. In this moment, Dario and Romeo are injured, so we cannot give Moises Caicedo a rest. I don't think it's random the amount of injuries we have, which is alluding to the Club World Cup. Enzo Maresca then speaks more on that Manchester United game, and he says the game is dictated from the red card. When it was 10v10, we had almost 70% possession. I hope that we don't have any more games with 10 players after 3 to 4 minutes. He continues to say, anyone can say what they decide to say. It's not a problem. I think we improved a lot last season. We closed the gap. This season, the main target is to continue to improve the players and team and close the gap. He then speaks about the Lincoln game specifically, and he says you can sleep very easy in these kind of games. Football is full of these games. I'm very worried about that. For sure, we will have some players from the academy like we have always done. Now, firstly, I want to speak about Cole Palmer's injury. In my opinion, we shouldn't be even risking him in this type of game against Lincoln. This should be a game that Chelsea go, turn up, play their football with a weakened side, a rotated side, and get this over the line. That's in theory and on paper. We still have to go and deliver that. We still have to respect our opponent. And we're going to go into that with a predicted 11. I've got a few ideas of what Maresca may be doing and how we can rotate a few players, and especially give players like Cole Palmer a rest. But I totally agree. This is where one of my frustrations came from with the Manchester United game, because he said after the game that, Cole tried to play 20 minutes. We had to bring him off. It was too much. Only he knew, and the medical team knew, that he wasn't 100% fit. And I understand that you want to be playing your best players where possible, and you have to go by the player's discretion. If he says he's ready, you got to trust him. I get that. But now it's like, okay, we have to try and manage him. We have to assess him. It's been a long-term injury, throughout the Club World Cup with his groin injuries, having pain injections, etc. This is the type of game where you can just give him the week of rest, or where it may be till the next game. You haven't got to force him in. We've got a lot of players that we can rotate and play this type of fixture. And like I said, on paper, in theory, we should be getting this over the line. I fully expect Chelsea to get this game over the line. And I do agree with what he's saying about you can sleep in these games. For sure. Look at Manchester United Grimsby, for example. Amorim had his tactic board out in the rain on the bench trying to work out what we're going to do, because the players just didn't react. They didn't play up to the standards of what Grimsby were putting out that night, and Grimsby step up to it. For Lincoln, this is a huge game. They're playing a Premier League team, the current world champions. It's huge in terms of the nature of going through to the next round of the Cup. They're going to be up for it massively. They're the home team. We have to go there, and we do have to take them seriously. We have to treat them with respect, and we have to be alert and be wanting to play from minute one, from kickoff, because especially going off the back of the Bayern game and the Manchester United game, we need to go out there and make a statement win, in my opinion. We need to go out there and win 3-4, 5-0, go out there and absolutely blow them away, and just regain the confidence of the squad, showcase some of the abilities of other players that maybe aren't starting 11, and also just get ourselves back on track of winning ways. It'd be really good to go further in this competition, because last year it looked like we threw this away. Same with the FA Cup. And I'm really hoping that this year we can go further and can compete for it, because we do have a bit more of a rotated squad and a varying select of players when they're all fully fit. My only concern with this is obviously Lavia and Badiashile aren't ready for this game. They are training, which is good, but they're not ready. They would be perfect players, especially Lavia, to kind of introduce this type of game, give him some minutes and, boost his confidence, boost his fitness a little bit. But if he's not ready, he's not ready. He also said that because Dario Sugo and Romeo Lavia aren't fit and ready, we cannot give a rest to Moises Caicedo. Now, we know that this guy is an absolute machine, and that does kind of give us some solidarity in that midfield for this game. We kind of know that he's going to be starting. We also know he'll probably take the captain's armband with how heavily rotated this squad will be. And again, I'm just going to be making a prediction later in the video, so make sure you keep watching. Whether or not that is going to be anywhere near what Maresca does is a different story, and that's the fun of the predictions. But I totally agree with what he's saying in terms of, The red card determined the game. We hope we don't go down to 10 men within the first few minutes of the game anymore this season, if ever. It's the fastest sending off for a goalkeeper in like 30 years. That's wild. And yes, we did come back into the game. We had a lot more possession, but again, I don't want to kind of dwell on it. I want to move on from it. But we just didn't have any attacking presence or outlets because of the decisions he made. But it is what it is now. It's done and dusted. We forget it happened. We move on. And this is the game where we need to bounce back. Now, for a lot of people, we might be saying, well, yeah, we should be blowing this away. Should be, absolutely destroying these, but we still have to go out there and do it, especially off the back of 2 defeats where realistically there's a lot of individual mistakes and a crazy game. So I feel like this is a perfect confidence booster and a good opportunity to see the likes of Ashimpong and other players like Hato that just haven't had as many minutes that can be embedded into this type of game. So yeah, I fully agree with what Enzo Maresca said. I like the fact that he said that anyone can say what they want. Like it's up to them. It shows me that he values everyone's opinions. He's not going to shy away from the criticism. He's not going to shy away from people being negative or positive. And I think that's how you have to be as a manager, especially when you're at the helm at Chelsea. You're going to get abuse regardless of what you do. That's just how it works at this club. Every manager has received it at some point. Players definitely receive it, sometimes undeservedly, sometimes deservedly so. So look, it is what it is, but I thoroughly agree with what Enzo Maresca has said here with his press conference. And I will also say that, it was a very emotional reaction from myself and a lot of other people, like fans and creators. Some more over the top than others, I will say, not just creators, but in general with Chelsea fans over that Manchester United game. But I genuinely feel like it was just one of those games where it needed to happen. We needed to vent, right? So that's done and dusted, move on. Now we face Lincoln tomorrow night, and I'm hoping for a big, big victory. But I totally agree with Enzo Maresca there. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding what he said about the Cole Palmer injury, about Romeo Lavia and Badiashile not being ready, about playing Moises Caicedo because we can't rest him, and also how big teams can sort of fall to sleep in these types of fixtures. Fabrizio Romano has reported in football, never say never, as there could be new managers, new agents, or whatever happens. But if you ask me today, the feeling around Nicholas Jackson and Chelsea is that Jackson won't play for Chelsea again, and the story is over. He continues to report, the feeling at Chelsea is that Nicholas Jackson is over, Emegha will take the place of that kind of striker. Also in terms of skills, obviously they're not the same kind of player, but Chelsea see big potential, and that's why they prepared the deal. This is huge for us Chelsea fans and huge for Chelsea in general, because I've said many a times, and I think a lot of people are on unanimously agree that it is over for Nicholas Jackson. He's burnt his bridges. It's not going to happen for him. I think the way that it was dealt with in the last few days of the transfer window was just horrible. It was a mess, right? But Jackson seems to have wanted the move, how things played out. He wanted the move, got to Bayern, let him do his thing, let him develop. Whether or not Bayern trigger that £56 million clause at the end of next season is a different story. Because if they pay it, great. If they don't, great. Chelsea will probably ask for a similar fee for a striker of his calibre, and I feel like for 56 million, someone will snap him up, considering we sold the likes of Noni Madueke for around 52. So because Chelsea kind of got that 13 million up front in the loan fee, it kind of reduces the amount that we're going to be asking for Nicholas Jackson next summer. And I don't think that there is a way back for him. Even though Maresca has said, he's got no problems with him. He's very professional. They work together. He even planned to have him in this season at the start of the window, and things just didn't develop that way. And that's why I'm really glad that Chelsea have gone in for Emegha and got this deal over the line as soon as possible. It did look like Chelsea were panicking a little bit, recalling Guiu, and then kind of be like, well, what do we do? We've not even seen Guiu being used before, used this season, which is wild to me when there's been opportunities to play him. Enzo Maresca still thinks that he needs to improve in certain things. Fair enough. But in my opinion, he has a role and he has a job to do in the squad. And I feel like he can do it. Yes, he does need to develop and improve. Of course he does. But the fact that Chelsea went and got a pre-contract agreement with Emegha, and they've got the option to bring him in from January or in the summer, I personally think that Chelsea are going to bring him in January. I think what we could see happen is Emegha comes in January, Guiu goes back on loan to a Sunderland or something from January onwards, and we kind of have that straight swap, and we start utilising Emegha a little bit more to allow for Delap to recover properly, João Pedro to get some rest when it comes to being the 9, the 10, etc. Enzo Maresca did also mention that Caicedo and João Pedro are kind of managing themselves at the minute because they're playing a lot of football. So again, we've been hit with a lot of injuries. We knew that the Club World Cup was going to cause some sort of issue at some stage in this season, but we didn't know where. Lack of pre-season, lack of rest, really, overworking the players. Was it going to be the first half of the season, the second half of the season, the Christmas period? We're second in the table right now in terms of injuries. So, it's going to be one of these things that does affect the season across the season. It's about how we can manage it. But when it comes to Emegha, this guy is special. I said this when we signed him on the pre-contract. He is a special type of player. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say I've watched every single minute of him, but I've been watching so many games of him across the first reports that we were linked with him way back last January of like Chelsea were kind of eyeing him up. And I was just dipping into Strasbourg games as and when. Scored again at the weekend. Mate, 6'5", good in the air, great finisher, runs off the ball, quick, good with the ball at his feet, good at link-up play. Like, I can understand why Chelsea see him as the sort of the new Nicholas Jackson, or the alternative is probably the best way to say it, the alternative to Nicholas Jackson, because they have very different profiles, but similar in certain ways in terms of the link-up, in terms of the way he can get involved in play. Now, the thing is, Emegha's profile is he isn't a link-up player. He is a player that gets on the end of balls where the runs he's made are great, where he's in space and he can finish. It's less of that link-up. Whether or not that changes being in an Enzo Maresca system or not, it's going to be a different story and very interesting to see. Because I do think that he would fit into this Chelsea team very, very well. And it's a very different dynamic to having the likes of Liam Delap, to having the likes of João Pedro, having someone like Emegha. It's 3 different profiles there. And I'm really excited to see him come across to Chelsea. I think he'll come in January personally and not the summer. I feel like Chelsea are going to recall him in January just to be safe. And I think Guiu is going to go out on loan this January to maybe a Sunderland or another club. Maybe kind of honour that, or as a thank you, returning the favour to Sunderland and say thanks for letting the loan deal collapse so we could recall him because we really needed him. But now you can have him and it's fine. Which, look, it may upset some people, and I get it. We want to see Guiu develop and do well, and I feel like he does have a Chelsea career in the future, but he is still very raw and very young. So I hope he does get minutes, and I hope he gets used between now and then. I really, really do. I want to see Guiu play. There's been chances where he could have come on and just showcased what he can do. But with Emegha coming, that is something to genuinely look forward to in my eyes. He is a fantastic player. Captain of Strasbourg. I think he scored 14 goals last season. I can't remember how many of them are non-penalty. It was a high percentage of the non-penalty goals. He's just a finisher. And yeah, I'm super excited to see him come across. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below regarding Nicholas Jackson's future being over at Chelsea and Emegha's just starting in terms of being the Nicholas Jackson replacement in that squad role. Would Chelsea? Do you think Chelsea are going to recall him in January, or are we going to wait until the summer? And are you excited to see Emegha play for Chelsea or not? The Daily Express have reported that AC Milan goalkeeper Mike Maignan is back on Chelsea's transfer agenda following the Robert Sanchez performance against Manchester United. He's a free agent to sign a pre-contract agreement in January as his current deal expires next summer. Now, this is paper talk. I don't want to go into it too much, but I just wanted to have a conversation with you guys. And honestly, thank you so much for all the conversations we've been having in the last few videos. It's really interesting to see everyone's point of view, and some people agreeing, some people disagreeing, but being respectful. I really like that. This is an amazing community. I genuinely mean that. I know this is paper talk, don't want to go into too much, but it's just a conversation to have with you guys. Would you still go in for Mike Maignan and a pre-contractual agreement in January to come in the summer? Because, yes, Robert Sanchez, like I said, I'm done with him. It is what it is. Look, he misses the linking game, thankfully, but it's just a one game. He'll be back very soon. And to be fair, I don't think Jorgensen's much better either. So it doesn't really matter who's in goal, to be honest, at the moment. And I know he had an absolute stinker at Manchester United, especially off the back of a Bayern Munich game where he played so well. But it is what it is. We know what to expect from Robert Sanchez now. Would you go in for Mike Maignan on a, potentially get him on a pre-contractual agreement in January so we know we've got someone coming in the summer? Or would you go for a completely different target? Because what I quite like seeing in different comment sections and different videos is the varying opinions on Mike Maignan specifically. Some people are really for him. I personally think he's a fantastic keeper, a leader, can play out from the back, great shot stopper. Some people say he's been on the decline since 2022. And I see that. He's not been at the heights of where he was at, but I still think he's a very, very good goalkeeper and an upgrade to what we currently have. I think that's undeniable personally. But again, I'd like to know your thoughts down below. Do you think there's any element of truth to this? Do you think that it's completely done and dusted after the summer saga where Chelsea just didn't want to pay that extra £4 million just to secure him there and then? Or were Chelsea trying to play the long game and now they're going in at January because they can secure a pre-contractual agreement off of a free transfer, which is great business for them, and then they can pay him a higher wage because it's a free transfer. Very curious to know your thoughts. Would you take Mike Maignan? Would you take him? Would you sign that pre-contract in January, or would you go for a completely different target? Because when I sit here and think about other targets that Chelsea could go for, I think they all got snapped up in the summer. You had Donnarumma, James Trafford, Mamadashvili. I think the only one that hasn't moved is Diogo Costa, I believe, over in Portugal. but I could be wrong. So I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. So now let's predict the Chelsea starting 11 to face Lincoln in the Carabao Cup tomorrow night. And this is going to be very interesting because I personally feel like this is a perfect game to get confidence back, but a perfect game to showcase some rotation and give people a chance. Now, we already know that Jorgensen is going to be the goalkeeper because of Sanchez's unfortunate red card. Well, I say unfortunate, he fully deserved it, but because of that moment, that bozo moment against Manchester United, he's banned, so Jorgensen will be playing in goal. Hopefully it's a good confidence booster for him. Now, the rest of the team, this is where it can get very interesting, in my opinion, because I think left back, you're going to see Hato. I think Hato is going to be the natural replacement for Cucurella, which is what he's been brought in for. It's a great game for him to ease himself back into the Chelsea starting 11, get used to an Enzo Maresca system, and just see how he does against a lower league opposition. Hopefully he has a very good game. When it comes to the centre-back partnership, this is where it gets a bit techie because, again, who do you choose? Who do you drop? Who do you rest? You got Chalobah, you got Tosin, which together, across the board just haven't been great in the last few games. Fofana is also available. He come off because he was tired. Do you then give him a game like this to then rest him in the next game after? I don't really know. But the one player I feel has to be playing, whether or not it's on the left side or the right side, I'm putting him in on the left side just for argument. I'll put him on the right side, actually. I'll put him on the right side, as I feel like Ashimpong is going to play. I feel like Ashimpong is going to play. He has to, in my opinion, because he's not had any game time at all when, again, there's been situations and opportunities for him to be getting minutes. This is the season for him to really kick on and develop, in my opinion. They didn't want to block his pathway. They've made him sign a new deal. These are the types of games he comes in and excels at, and then he gets into that starting 11 in the Premier League, in my opinion. Now, we could see him play right back. We could see him play centre-back. I want to see him play centre-back. I really, really do, because this is a prime opportunity to actually drop Reece James, or rest Reece James, not drop him. He's not been performing bad, but then put Malo Gusto in. And again, he's not been amazing. He's been very up and down, like a lot of the squad have been in the first 5 games. But Gusto playing in this game, I think, could do him a world of good. It obviously rests Reece James in terms of just saving his legs for the more the different games. I was going to say more important, but that's not what I mean by that. You guys know what I mean. I feel like we should be getting this over the line against Lincoln with a rotated squad. It's just this last centre-back, because Badiashile still isn't ready. Otherwise, I think he would have slotted in there perfectly. You've got Tosin, you've got Chalobah. Now, Tosin was dropped in the last game and only brought on because of the red card situation, and Maresca then taking Neto off to have 5 at the back. So do you continue to start Chalobah here? Do you continue to rotate? Do you have Tosin or Chalobah? And this is where I can't decide. So when it comes to this left centre-back, honestly, I think you could pick either or, in my opinion, as of current form right now. I feel like he'll probably play Chalobah out of the two. I mean, I would personally... like I said, you could go either way. You could put Chalobah, you could put Tosin. It is what it is at this point. Maybe he wants to rest Tosin for the next game. Maybe he rests Chalobah and plays Tosin instead. But then you got, Tosin as the left side. Or whether or not Ashimpong's the left or right-hand side, I just feel like he will be getting some game time. So when it comes to those double sixes, we know that Moises Caicedo is going to be playing because Enzo Maresca was like, we can't give him a rest at the moment. We have no one else that can play his position like for like. So hopefully it becomes an easier type of game for him where it's not as sort of exhausting or physically draining, but you never know how these games are going to play out. And then when it comes to his partner, I honestly feel like we'll see Andre Santos get his start. I feel like Enzo Maresca is going to want to sort of rest Enzo Fernandez. And again, he's kind of been very hit and miss so far this season in the first 5 games. So maybe it'll do him a bit of good just to get a bit of rest. And then you've got Andre Santos, who has a lot of legs. He's a completely different type of player. Obviously, he was introduced as well with Palmer being taken off in that Manchester United game, which was pure chaos. But Andre Santos played a lot of minutes, but it was a good run out for him. So I feel like he will have a good game against Lincoln if he starts. I just don't see why Enzo would start Enzo in this game. But hey, we will soon see. When it comes to the left-hand side, this is where things get interesting, right? Or the front 4, because you could play Gittins in this type of game. Good one to adjust to. You could do Garnacho, who I feel is ready to start. Enzo said he's ready to start. We didn't see him in the United game, but I feel like we will be seeing him in the next Premier League game. So he might get some rotated minutes, maybe come off the bench in the second half, but be rested for the next game. In the number 10, I feel like there's only one option. Well, there's potentially 2, but it's the right-hand side. I think Pedro Neto is going to be dropped for this one as well. Again, for rest. Well, I say rest. He only played, 15, 20 minutes of the Manchester United game. So maybe we do need that bit more of experience on the wings, and then you've got the number 10 role and the number 9 as well. So I'm going to fill in the number 9. I feel like this is going to be the game for Guiu to start. We're going to see some minutes. Hopefully he can get on the score sheet. I'm just excited to see him playing a Chelsea shirt again, if I'm being brutally honest. But these 3 that are remaining, I feel like there are a lot of variables. You could play Esteval on the right. You could play Esteval as a 10. You could play Garnacho, Gittins. You could play Pedro Neto still. I just don't know what order they're going to go in. So we're going to decide this right this second. I'm going to say that we go Esteval on the right. And again, for those of you who have seen, Esteval isn't on lineup builder, so it's the German goalkeeper for Borussia Dortmund, but I mean Esteval. Esteval on the right-hand side. So when it comes to the 10 and the left-hand side, on the left-hand side, I'm going to go with Jamie Gittins. I feel like he will get a start because, again, as much as we want to see Garnacho, I feel like he will be rested for the next Prem game or the next big game after this. And again, it's a good opportunity for someone like Gittins to come on, get a very good run out against a lower league opposition and really showcase what he can do and just boost his confidence a little bit. And then that leaves the number 10, and I feel like there's only one player that can play there. You could see Esteval starting here, right? You could see Esteval on the 10, Pedro Neto on the right, but I feel like Esteval's going to start on the right-hand side. Again, good, very good run out for him. And then in the 10, because there's no Cole Palmer, I feel João Pedro is going to be rested as well. You've got Guiu starting in the 9. We go with Buonanotte in the 10, because I was really impressed with him when he came on for that first half cameo. I agree with Maresca, he's not physically strong enough as of right now, in terms of he needs to just get a bit more physical. But in terms of what he was doing, very much a KDH type player, comes on, does a job to a good standard. I don't think he blows anyone away, but he's there to be utilised in that 10 role. And he's a creative player. So, you know, realistically, the experience you have is from Chalobah, Caicedo, and Gusto, potentially, in terms of people that have played in an Ashimpong to a degree, in terms of playing at that first division. And you're also giving Guiu some minutes, Gittins a new signing, Hato's a new signing, which, again, they just need to work together on that left-hand side because it's going to happen time and time again in this season. And what we've seen so far is they need to improve on that. The only way they're going to do that is by giving them minutes. So I feel like this is the type of game where you can rotate a little bit. You can also bring on Garnacho. You could also put Esteval on the 10, bring on Neto if needed. But I feel like we can start a game like this, try and get it over the line. And if we're struggling in the 60th minute or so, then we can make the right changes. You can bring on Cucurella if Hato is struggling. Reece James for Gusto, or you could put Ashimpong into right back, Gusto comes off, and you bring another centre back if needed. I feel like there's a lot of variety of what we can do from this basis. So that would be my predicted starting 11 to face Lincoln tomorrow in the Carabao Cup away. I think it's been a very interesting game. Like I said, I expect a statement victory from Chelsea. I feel like we should be going there and getting this result. And I want these players to do well. I want Mark Guiu to get on the score sheet. That'd be really, really nice. I want Gittins to perform very well, really start showcasing what he is capable of doing. Again, I'm not disregarding or disrespecting Lincoln. They are going to be well up for it. They're going to come at us. We are going to have to deal with that. But I feel like for Chelsea, we should be responding in the best possible way after the previous 2 games. That's just my opinion. And that's the latest Chelsea news and the predicted Chelsea starting 11 to face Lincoln. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comment section. I love having a conversation with you guys. And if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, there'll be a thumbnail appears on the screen. So make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.